Namaste, everybody, and happy Monday. No matter where you are in the world, it might be Tuesday, it might be Sunday, but it is Monday where I'm at. So I'm wishing you a very happy day wherever you are. It's been a month since I made a video, and I'm back. I've been extremely busy, but all good stuff. And I was feeling so called to make a video today. And then I sat down, and then someone kept ringing the door, and our air conditioning unit's getting fixed, and it was a whole thing. And I was like, you know what? The clouds are going to part, the rainbow will appear, and then I will sit down and I will talk. So here we are. There's a lot going on in the field just now. I also know that whenever I'm called, whenever I'm guided by my team to make these videos, I mean, my team in spirit, not in physical. Um, and even though it might be May 2024 right now, as I'm recording this, whenever you listen to this, whether it's today, whether it's next month, whether it's next year, whether it's 5 years, it's always the time for you to hear this message. It doesn't matter when you listen to it, it will be time for you to hear this message. It's the same thing if you're reading a book. Someone might give you a book, and 5 years will go by, and finally you'll pick up that book. You were not supposed to read that book before that time. So every time something comes to you, your initial impulse, your instinct, your visceral reaction will always sync up with the field. Always, always. It's like when you think, oh, I need to do something, I need to do something, then you never do it. And then finally one day you end up doing it. It's right on time. And if you actually force yourself to do it before that time, you're going against the field. There is there is such a thing as divine timing, and everything is worked out. I keep hearing my guide saying the matrix, the matrix. Everything in the matrix is about timing. Everything. It's the same thing if you were stitching something. There's if you're putting something together and you're stitching something, there's a certain area that needs to be done, and then the other area needs to be done next. It's not done at the same time. Every single thing is about timing. Think of your life as a giant chessboard, and where you're sitting looking at the players and the pieces and the squares, you need to really feel it out. And when you see what the world gives you, what is presented to you, where the other players are going, then you will know and you'll be able to feel out exactly your next step. That's why when people come to me, or I'm dealing with different people, whether it's in the services or one-on-one, and they talk about, I just don't really have the oomph, and I just don't really have the this, and I just don't really have that. And I'm like, then you're not supposed to do it. You're not supposed to do it. It's either that or put yourself in the checkerboard and being like, okay, now it's time to do that. I had a talk with a very dear friend yesterday after my service, and she had said to a few of us, because we talked about different timing, which I will get to, because this is to do with resting lives. This is to do with the life that you've chosen in this body at this time. Because as you know, this body that you're wearing and the name that you're going by, this is not who you are. It's not. It's what you're wearing this time and going by this name, but it's not who you are. You are the soul inside of that body. You are the eternal energy field, the essence, the astral body that's wearing this suit that you're in right now. This very dear friend said to me, she says, I couldn't clean my room for 2 years after my mom died. I just couldn't. She says, I couldn't physically pick up a thing. And she said, only now is the first time that I'm actually able to pick things up again. And that is so profound and so important that she even had the awareness of, she knew she couldn't do it, so she didn't force herself. There is a time for you in your life for every single thing. You cannot force it. You're not a human doing, you're a human being. So just being in that space, being in that place of saying, I can't do that right now, that's okay. I know we live in a pressurized human world where it's like, oh, you got to do this and you got to do that and you got to do this. And here's the thing, prior to the death of my daughter, I was the same. Anyone that knows me before Isabella will say, now I was the biggest go-getter. Oh, we're going to do this. We're going to do that. We're going to do this. And I did it all. But did it necessarily equal the reward? No, no. Because ultimately I was out of alignment. I was out of alignment with my highest calling, my highest nature. So yesterday in my service, I talked about, I won't go into, I was at a high school graduation this weekend of our intern that was graduating. But I was really kind of pushed into looking at these youngsters who were graduating and really looking at, as an observer, what they are taught in school and how they're all, you have to get A's and you have to all be good at every single thing, and just all of the flaws of the system, really. And I talk to many children on the other side who have taken their lives due to systems like that, due to the pressure of things like that, due to the pressure of not being seen, not being acknowledged, not feeling like they fit in. And because of that, they've taken their lives. And being the observer now and looking at something like that, it's very hard when you see the system that's flawed and you also really want to stand up and tell people, be you, just do you. Don't compete against anybody else. Don't try and be anything else. You're no one else but you. There's no one on this earth or in this system that is you. You are the only you in existence, literally, the only you. You're the only one that has this makeup, that has this blueprint, that has this DNA like this. No one else has you. So if there's anything I could tell a graduating class, it would be go out into this field and just do you. Do you. And let other people fall in love with you. And let other people hate you, because they're going to hate you anyway. Who cares? They're going to love you and going to hate you. It doesn't matter. None of it is to do with you. But the biggest thing I want to say, I had a mother a couple of weeks ago say, oh, my son, he just lies in bed all day and he plays video games. And I said, okay. And that angers you? And she said, well, yes, because I want him to make something of his life. And I thought, here are those old systems at play again. So every life that you take, there's different lives that you take. And we brought out this kid's Akashic records and we looked into the different lives that he'd had. And his very last life, he had been at war. He was in the armed forces. He'd been at war and he was a pilot and he was shot down. He was killed. And he had a very, very, very traumatic, very hardworking, just very rough last life. And so he chose this time around to come in and have what we call a resting life. And the resting life is where you take a body, and of course, you pick the family members and everything, but you choose to rest so you can start to allow the karma of the last life to start to fix itself, to start to pay off, to start to, I don't want to say release, but let go, start to let go of that karma, unravel that karma of the past life because it was so traumatic. And so this kid has now chosen a resting life. So he's lying in his bed right now playing video games because his soul wants to rest. And here's this mother, human mother, that's very triggered by this because she's only seeing through the eyes of being human. She's looking at him and thinking he's wasting his life and da da da. And that's where we say, hold up, hold up, hold up. First off, you can't play God. I know we are all God. We all have God in us. Everything is God. The nature, the animals, everything is God. But there is a purpose and a reason for that. Your path is your path. And whatever another soul chooses to do is up to that soul. And if they choose to rest for a few years, like my dear friend that said, I couldn't clean my room for 2 years, that's fine. Her soul has just gone through a trauma, a trauma. So, of course, if she wants to leave that room messy, leave it. Who are we to judge? Who are we to say, you should do it like this, you should do it like that? That child needed to rest. And he chose this life so that he could rest and play out that karma. And his mother, in the reading, she got it to the point where she was speechless. She got very emotional and she even said, I didn't even think about that. All I was thinking of seeing my kid. And I'm like, I know that's because it's your projection. That's your projection of what you want him to do. This is his life. He chose the body, he chose the time, he chose the place. Allow this kid to have a resting life. And you know what? If he wants to play some video games for a few years, let him. Let him. And I know as a parent, we go, oh, but we want our kid. It doesn't matter what we want. Ultimately, it's going to be what they want. And I'm telling you, I talk to children on the other side all the time, and they did what they wanted. They did what they wanted because they were not seen. They weren't acknowledged. They were depressed because of the system, forcing them to be this and be that and do this and do that. So we're at a time right now, especially on this earth, where we have these systems, these flawed systems at play that are failing. They are failing because more and more are going to step out and say, no, this is who I am and this is what I want. And the biggest thing that I can say, especially right now, is we cannot judge. We cannot project our wounds onto other people. After my daughter died, it took me a solid, I want to say 3 to 4 years until I actually started to feel like a human being again. There was things I just couldn't do for at least 2.5 years, much like my friend. I just couldn't. And it took me 3 to 4 years till I started to be like, okay, that was her choice. It was her choice to go. So we cannot judge anybody. We need to allow ourselves just to be in that space. It's okay to be in that space. And it's okay to feel broken and feel like you just can't. It's okay. You don't have to get a straight A in everything you do in your life. You don't have to get the highest score for everything you do in your life. Just do you. Just be you and just know that you are enough. You are enough. There's no one competing against you because there is no other you. Just you. Just be you. And in this time of these retrogrades and solar flares and all of the erratic energy, do not lower yourself and engage. Don't. If you want to retreat, retreat. If you need to stay in bed for a few days, stay in bed. You'll know, your soul will know when it's time to get up, when it's time to take a walk, when it's time to switch. You will know. So I am here today to tell you it's okay just to be. It's okay just to be because you get an A just for being. Just for being. I love you and you've got this. Namaste.